I want to dive back into certainly the story of the day, which is the ongoing fallout between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And I spent much of the first hour sort of psychologically analyzing it, what I think brought on Elon Musk, to me, essentially having a temper tantrum yesterday afternoon, why I don't think that there is any truth at all to the Epstein allegation against Trump from Elon, and what I think is really sort of the undercurrent of the conflict and why it grew there. Top of the second hour, I dove into how it impacts the so-called big, beautiful bill as it continues to work its way through the United States Senate. And here I'll kind of dive back into both of those components and explain why I think it's so important that these guys work together going forward. So I think it's so important for all of you to go sign up for the Clay Travis Buck Sexton Podcast Network, because I know it is holiday season. It is summer break time, and many people are going to be on the road. You're going to be in different parts of the country, maybe even different parts of the world. And if you want to know what's going on, boom, you can pop us in. You can listen to the show. And also, we have built an incredible network of shows, and they run the gamut from a wide variety of perspectives. And those are all included in our Clay and Buck podcast feed. So you can find a variety of different perspectives, whatever you are interested in, simply by going to Clay and Buck podcast feed. You can certainly find us at clayandbuck.com. And we love all of you, however you are listening, including on our, I believe it's 555 different stations nationwide in all 50 states. Okay. So why is it important that Trump and Elon have a strong relationship going forward? Trump's president for the next 3.5 years. So whatever Elon is wanting to get done, he tweeted at some point, hey, you've only got Trump for the next 3.5 years. You've got me for the next 40. Maybe that's true. I hope Elon is supremely healthy. He's 53 years old. I want everybody to have long and fertile lives. And certainly Elon's had already quite a fertile life in the literal sense and the figurative sense. But the evolution of Elon is important beyond Trump. And let me explain why I think that is the case. So I want Trump and Elon to get along well, because I believe that since Elon endorsed Trump on July 13th in the immediate aftermath of the Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt, that the country has benefited immensely from the partnership between Trump and Elon. And that partnership really has only existed for about 9 months, right? This is basically a Hollywood relationship. Length relationship. We have a situation where Trump voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, where he voted for Joe Biden in 2020, and Elon didn't vote for Trump until July of 2024. If you have a right now, boy, I got to meet Buck and Carrie's baby in Palm Beach, James Speed Sexton, awesome little kid. He's only a couple months old. Super cute. If you have let me do the math in my head. If you have I had to count there. You saw the fingers move if you were watching on video. If you have a 10-month-old kid or grandkid right now, that kid is the same age as the relationship between Trump and Elon. This is a brand new relationship. There is not a lot of basis behind it. And yet it's been incredibly productive and incredibly important, I believe, for the success of the country, not only now, but in the years ahead. I think the 2024 election was incredibly consequential. And I do believe that even though Trump has said I would have won the election even if Elon had not gotten involved, I do believe that Trump won a grander and more substantial election victory because of Elon Musk's support than he would have if Elon Musk had not endorsed at all, or if Elon Musk had said, hey, I'm all on board for Kamala Harris. But Elon Musk is, relatively speaking, newly involved in politics. I believe Elon's decision to buy Twitter, turn it into X in 2022, was profoundly transformative for the trajectory of the nation. Not because at that time he espoused any particular political belief, but simply because having a truly robust and uninhibited marketplace of ideas is necessary in order for this country to flourish, particularly in an AI age. Why do I think that? Why do I think that we have to have a robust marketplace of ideas, especially in an AI age? Because I believe and have long believed that the only way you get new, disruptive, positive growth economically that is transformative is by having the full scope of the marketplace of ideas available to creators. In other words, if you do not have intellectual freedom, I think your ability to create new products is stifled. That's why I think, I don't hear anybody else make this argument, that's why I think ultimately America stands to dominate in AI like we have dominated in the internet. Because I don't understand how Chinese AI can be reliable if the Chinese internet does not allow me to know about what happened in Tiananmen Square. Then how in the world can it create the best possible landscape of responses in the future when it's being censored in terms of the results? This is why the whole COVID universe was so offensive to me, because science is based on challenging all authority. The entire basis of the scientific method is distinguishing between a hypothesis and a theory and challenging everything. So when you had Dr. Fauci lecturing everyone and saying, I am the science, he was arguing against science himself because he was saying that science shouldn't be challenged. We have to challenge everything. And the marketplace of ideas allows everything to be challenged, but only if it is fairly applied evenly from a principled perspective. And I think what Elon saw is Elon's ultimate goal is to put men on and women on Mars, to make us a multi-planetary species. You can argue that you don't care about that. You can think it's relatively inconsequential, insignificant even. But that is the spark that is fueling Elon's obsession with everything. And I think what he recognized was, well, maybe I can save the United States climate to some degree by electric vehicles. But if I don't allow the meritocracy to flourish, if I do not allow the best man or the best woman to get a job, if DEI triumphs, then ultimately it destroys our ability to make humanity a multiplanetary species because it doesn't unlock the great gifts of the most talented among us and instead leads to some array of cosmetic diversity. So you end up, frankly, with Kamala Harris and with Karine Jean-Pierre. I'm not saying black women aren't successful or can't be incredibly accomplished. Many of them can. I am saying you cannot hire someone based on their race and gender and argue that that is the justification for why they should have that position of power. Karine Jean-Pierre, you're now hearing people inside the Biden White House say, yeah, far from being a transformative figure because she was black and gay, she was actually really awful at her job and she didn't do basic homework. The only reason Karine Jean-Pierre was the White House chief spokesperson was because she was black and gay. When you elevate people to positions that they otherwise are unable to achieve and can't even do the job of because of their race and gender, then you are devaluing the meritocracy, which ultimately destroys everything in terms of our ability to have the best possible result. And that, to me, is why Kamala Harris was the ultimate DEI candidate. She looks like what people on the left think leaders should look like. Not based on anything she's done, just based on the cosmetic diversity. And I think what Elon recognizes is that the only diversity that matters in America is diversity of thought. Because why do I care if a bunch of people who look different think the same? That's Harvard. Sadly, it's the Harvard faculty. The only thing that matters is whether you're getting a variety of perspectives to allow you to make the best possible decision to get the best result. And so I think what Elon saw when he decided to get Twitter is that if the marketplace of ideas is broken, then the overall American marketplace collapses. And I think what he sees with AI is the ultimate value of the best possible AI is going to determine the success or failure in the future. Now, that requires moving fast, breaking a lot of things. The government, he tried to move fast and he tried to break a lot of things. One of the things he said, hey, if we get something wrong, we'll go back and fix it. But it's better to get something wrong and go back and fix it than not to do anything at all. Most people in government actually would prefer not to do anything at all. They don't want to really change what exists there. And so, in order for the future to matter in a substantial way, we have to have people like Elon Musk involved because Trump, he's right, only has 3.5 more years in office. And I think what you're seeing already is there is a sweepstakes developing on the right to try to become Elon's favored candidate in 2028, because the idea is if Elon spent $300 million on Trump, $300 million in a Republican primary to help elevate his preferred candidate could be the difference maker between who is the nominee and who's not. Now, the relationship between Elon and J.D. Vance actually seems quite strong because Elon said that Trump should be impeached and J.D. Vance should be elevated. Now, J.D. Vance has responded and basically said, hey, Trump is doing amazing work. He's an incredible guy. But this is the difficulty of being vice president is J.D. Vance posted a picture of himself with Theo Vaughn. I guess he was in town here in Nashville doing a podcast and doing a fundraising event in Nashville. But the analogy was really funny that basically J.D. Vance was the kid who gets sent to sleep over at a friend's house while mom and dad are fighting. And I think the importance here for Elon going forward is he can be a force for tremendous good, but that is the challenge as it plays out going forward. I hope that made sense. I think it did. But the significance of the conflict now is that Elon can be a tremendous force for good going forward, and we need to make sure that he is still engaged at a minimum, and certainly that he is not starting to pull the levers for the other side, because then we go back to the Twitter that happened in 2020, which was rigged, where fair and free discourse is not allowed, and where social media is putting its hand firmly on the side of leftist politics. And unfortunately, I think that leads to BLM riots. I think that leads to Joe Biden weekend at Bernie-style presidencies. I think it leads to immeasurable corruption. We need a fair and open marketplace of ideas where the best ideas can win. When President Trump signed an executive order last month slashing the cost of prescription drug prices, he was making a statement. He intends to see prescription medicine priced in this country the same prices you might find in Mexico, throughout Europe. The purpose is let's reduce what we have to pay and make it more similar to what other countries pay. But even when that fair pricing kicks in, it's not going to help improve what you're getting with Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act. It's anything but affordable. There are better options out there. That's why we want you to check out Ease for Everyone. Ease for Everyone comes with a monthly cost as low as $262. You get access to over 400 prescription drugs for free, not just at a lower cost, no cost, $0. And unlike the broken promise of Obamacare, you can keep your doctor, plus you get free unlimited virtual primary care. Affordable health care for as low as $262 a month today at easeforeveryone.com/Clay. That's easeforeveryone.com/Clay.